Dude, it is not even a Saturday, and college football week 1 is spectacular. Are you kidding me? With those games last night, dude. You know how good it was at 10:30 at night to pop onto social media and just see college football, 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 tennis, college football, college football, college football, basketball, college football, college football, college football, college football. Incredible, man. Welcome back, college football. Welcome back, chaos. Welcome back, pandemonium. My goodness, how we have missed thee. Unreal, man. If there is a person out there, ladies and gentlemen, if there is a person out there who tries to convince you college football is dying, the transfer portal, NIL, it's killing, expansion, it's killing college football. Just point to it. There were 3 games last night.
What I gotta say is, man, baseball nerd is into some stuff, and
he really is. He's got a vast interest. He's well-rounded.
He's a sports guy.
Well-rounded guy. If there's a dude out there that tries to convince you that college football's in trouble, just show them my social media timeline from last night. Just show them what was going on last night with those games. With West Virginia, Pittsburgh in the backyard brawl.
That was not supposed to be a game, right? Because according to preseason rankings, Pitt should have just blew West Virginia out of the water, right? Because preseason rankings are they're accurate, right?
I think this is the perfect example of people writing previous success into the next year, maybe a little bit over enthusiastically. Pitt's not bad, like at all.
Although I do have a theory, and I'm not trying to be, that guy, but it looks like quality football, but is it? Because we're seeing some lesser teams play, and we're just so excited about football being back, and all I look at is go and think, man, these guys are small. Don't they look small? I mean, some of those guys going up against Alabama, they would look like, I don't know what the proper word is, skinny people. Let's go with that.
Men.
Yeah, there we go. We haven't seen the college football play yet. That happens tomorrow. But the games are good. The games are competitive. But are they competitive because the teams are lesser and a little more equally matched? Or are we just overly excited for it because we want football to be back?
I will go ahead and tell you. That last night was fun. Now, was it fun because, radio dudes compare everything in sports to one of 3 things: food, war, relationships. Those are our 3 metaphors, right? Food, war, and relationships. Everything we do, we compare to food, war, and relationships. Everything. Last night was a relationship night. It's happened to all of us. Scratch that. It's happened to a lot of us. You get into a new relationship. It's fun. It's flirty. It's sexy. It's hot. You're climbing into bed a little more enthusiastically than you were when you were by yourself, right? You're kissing and making out in public. You're sneaking off behind corners into alleyways. It's hot. It's fun. It's new. It's fresh. It's exciting. And then months or years into that relationship, that part kind of tempers off just a little bit, right? The part kind of falls off. Maybe you're not quite as excited about ducking into an alleyway and making out next to a trailer somewhere. You're not quite as excited when bedtime rolls around. It's like, I'm going to play my video games tonight, babe. Right? Doesn't mean the relationship's bad. It just means that, the part where everything was new and fresh and fun and exciting and you were getting to know each other mentally, emotionally, physically, it just means that you do now. And that's not to say that stuff won't pop up and still happen, right? We all every now and then got that day where Sugar Mama's like, hey, boo, how you doing? You look good today, boo. That happens still, but it's not the norm anymore, right? It's the exception, not the rule. Last night, I don't know, Zoe. I don't know if we thought it was so good because it was new and fun and exciting because football's back and we haven't had it in so long. Right? And if you don't have something for a long time, when you do have that thing, all of a sudden you're like really excited about that thing. Obviously talking about dinner here and nothing else.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Good steak.
Yeah,
I mean, you haven't had one in a while.
Right. Obviously. Obviously talking about dinner and literally nothing else.
I was excited last night for that game. I was. And for West Virginia and Pitt. That's the one I watched mostly. Because I did that old man thing where you fall asleep, but you know that you're going to fall asleep, so you record something so you can watch it in the morning because you know it's going to be talked about on the air, and then you get to the last 2 minutes and there's West Virginia's driving, and then it stops recording.
First world problems, dude. First world problems. So, I don't know. I don't think last night was hot because it was new, fun, and exciting, and we haven't had football in a while. I think last night was just good football. Now, yeah. Do I think Pitt is keeping up with Georgia? Do I think West Virginia is going the distance with Bama? Do I think Purdue is taking it to Clemson? No. No. You did not see the best teams in the country last night. But here's the thing. If you only watch college football for the teams that are national championship threats this year, you get 3 games a weekend, right? Because there ain't but 3 teams that are considered right now genuine national championship threats. That's not to say there won't be a surprise team at the end of the year, but right now there are 3 teams considered genuine championship threats.
But you say three games a weekend, there might be 4 if your team is not one of those.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
So I mean, you throw in your team if your team's not one. Mine is, but if your team's not one of those, then you got at least 4 games that you're paying attention to.
The point is, unless you're Desmond Howard, right? Unless you're Desmond Howard, there were no playoff teams playing last night, right? Does anybody here want to take a flyer on Pitt, Purdue, West Virginia, Wake Forest? Anybody want to take a flyer right now on any of those teams making a playoff? I will take a bet right now, and I will give you 2-1 odds. That and 2-1 against the entire field of teams last night. Does anyone want to bet me that no playoff teams played last night? That none of the teams that played last night made the playoffs? However, even if none of the playoff teams were playing last night, and again, 2-1 that everybody that played last night misses the playoffs, and you won't take that bet. It'd be a waste of money, right? 2-1 odds, nobody last night makes playoffs, and guess what? It was still college football, and it was still exceptional.
It was good. It really was good. Will any of those teams that played last night be in their conference championships?
No. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Purdue certainly is not. West Virginia certainly is not. I mean, Pitt, maybe. Maybe Pitt could win the Coastal. So maybe Pitt is a conference championship participant. But I don't even think Pitt's in there because I believe in Miami. I believe in Miami. I think Miami
You
wins the
got it
Coastal.
out. Congratulations. Way to go. Yeah, that stuff gets stuck in
It was
there.
a dry heave.
You got to work that stuff out.
Yeah. It was a dry heave. I think Miami wins the Coastal, so it's not Pitt. I think Clemson wins the Atlantic, so it's not Wake Forest. Tennessee's not winning the East. No, I don't think there was a conference championship participant playing last night. At least not one that jumps out at me. So no. But it was still really good. Like, really good. The last two games were so good last night. Man, I felt like I don't smoke and I needed a cigarette when they were over. They were that good. I mean, it was just exceptional football last night. I don't think you could have watched, especially the Pitt West Virginia game. You could not have watched the Penn State Purdue game. And there were even some really good games you did not watch. Northern Illinois, Eastern Illinois, 34-27 came down to it. What was the other one? There was one more. Oh, San Jose State, Portland State. The Aztecs win 21-17. Really good game. You didn't watch it, but really good game. I mean, it was Thursday night. And between the two games everybody was watching, the Backyard Brawl and Penn State Purdue, like I said, everything on social media was college football last night. The girlfriend loves to scroll her Twitter and her Insta before she goes to bed last night. She put her social media away earlier than I've ever seen before because, in her words, man, it's just nothing but football. Yeah, baby! Welcome back. Welcome back. So today is the lady friend's birthday. So if you know her, shoot her a text. It's her birthday today. Last night was the night before her birthday, right?
What is that, like a birthday eve? Is that also now a holiday?
Yeah, I got to tell you, there are some people who have said the sentence, "It's my birthday month." She doesn't go birthday month, but you can tell as we get closer to the birthday, she's kind of like, "I'm just saying, it's my birthday coming up." She's not bad about it. Like, I got her a couple of nice little necklaces.
Well, September is a great month for birthdays, so
everybody I know is born in September.
All the good ones.
Yeah, you know it. You know it. Anyway, here's the deal. It is her birthday. If you know her, shoot her a happy birthday message or whatever. I'm reminding you all. And also, love you, babe. Happy birthday.
See, I was going to do that, but I just wanted to say happy birthday on the air. And if she doesn't hear it, it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
It counts. So anyway, last night before her birthday, she comes home. She went out with the girls to have a little birthday happy hour situation. So she went out with the girls, and she comes home. She gets ready for bed. We talk for a little while. And then she's like, "Hey, I'm going to go to bed." And I went, yeah, I'll be there in a few minutes. It's the third quarter of Purdue, Penn State, and West Virginia Pitt, and these games are really good. She's like, "Oh, all right. Well, I guess I'll see you when you come to bed." I'm like, yeah. As soon as they're over, I'm coming to bed. And I did. She was snoozing at that point. She was out like a light at that point. That's how good those games were. That's how good those games were, man. Worth it. Worth it. All right, coming up on today's show, it's all college football and also some other stuff. We'll be talking about Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier? Lonzo, there's a star in C-Town and it ain't K-Love. What a trade for the Cavs.
You know, when I saw that, I couldn't help but wonder, is Kevin Love still there? Because I don't know. And I should know, but I don't know. I think last time I saw him, his hair was gray and he looked like Matt Ryan. It was weird. It was so weird.
He really does. He is listed there, but on the second team for the Cavs now. So Donovan Mitchell gets added. That's big. We're going to talk about that later on. The college football bazaars, managers, rulers.
It's known as a committee.
Sure. A college football committee is meeting today. And for a bunch of reasons. They are talking about generating new transfer policies for other sports outside of football.
Expansion.
They are talking about new disciplinary procedures to accelerate the disciplinary process when teams self-report violations. And, as the creepy voice in the background just whispered,
expansion.
Today could be a massive step towards college football playoff expansion. We're going to tell you what is expected to be discussed in that meeting coming up later on today. So stay tuned for that. Spencer freaking Strider last night did something that only one other Atlanta Brave has done, and his name is John Smoltz. Spencer Strider was in beast mode last night. 16 Ks through 8 shutout innings of one-hit ball. Dude was incredible with a capital I. We're going to talk about him later on in the show as well. But when we come back, let's take a look at those 2 games last night. Let's talk about some of the ins and outs, some of the coaching strategy, because let's talk about a couple of different targeting calls and whether we're good with them, bad with them. It's going to be busy, y'all. A lot of college football coming up. Lonzo, Rob, you. Oh, by the way, it's Friday, Lonzo. You know what that means?
Burns football. That's why you're dressed that way.
And also we make picks. But yes! Burns football live tonight. Pregame 7 p.m. Kickoff 7:30. Let's go! Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
I fear the boo. I fear the boo. So Rob keeps changing his Twitter name. So sometimes it's hard to find him. Is that a good idea? Is it a good idea to change your Twitter name a bunch? I don't know. I think I'm just afraid to lose my blue check mark, which I don't deserve, but I have it anyway. So, you know. I just I sent you something on Twitter. You really need to look at it.
I just saw it.
Did you?
The
Unleashed. Look at the Unleashed shirt.
Shirt's not bad.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It looked like a NASCAR shirt at first.
It is very much a NASCAR shirt.
They must be official because he's the one that's tweeting it. So, you know. I'm not saying I won't get one of those, though, because I might. Although, maybe not the Unleashed one, because someone may see the collar and think something else is going on, and, you know. Porky treats. Stupid 75 characters. Can't say what I want to say. So the actor who's playing Namor in Black Panther 2 took the job and couldn't swim. I think that's awesome.
Drop that knowledge on the people, Lonzo. That's hilarious. That's really funny. No, I need you to tell people what you just told me. That's fantastic.
Okay, so the actor who plays, let's see, where's his name? The Submariner in Black Panther 2, which is about to come out next year, I believe. I'm looking for the actor's name. I can't find it. But anyway, turns out he took the job and he couldn't swim. So, and all his stuff is underwater. But I think that's cool because have you ever taken a job and people thought you knew how to do the job, but you didn't, but you learned and they never caught on that you didn't know how? In this case, he had to take swimming lessons.
There's a lot of people that would argue that I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, well, you know, it's on the job training. That's how radio works. Yeah, I studied radio for like 30 minutes at the recording school I went to, and I've been here 25 years in radio, so, you know.
Could you imagine Tom Cruise signed up for Top Gun but had a fear of flying?
Yeah.
You know? Just spectacular
stuff.
Hey,
that sort of thing has happened before with actors, but they're actors. So
you think Tom Cruise, like theoretically right now, if Independence Day happened in real life, you think Tom Cruise could fly an F-18? Do you think he learned enough on the set of
Yes.
those two movies that he could solo fly an F-18? Like, take it off, fight in it, land it.
He has like his own helicopter. He's got a bunch of. I think he has his own plane. Yeah, the plane that you haven't watched Top Gun Maverick. So there's a plane that he's working on in a hangar, and it's actually his plane.
Okay.
So yes, he could, and he meets the height requirements.
I did not. The only reason I was going to go to the Air Force Academy, and the only reason I didn't was because I was too tall to fly. I was too tall to fly. In fact, I went through, I had my letters of recommendation. I had the grades. I had everything I needed to get in. And then when I met with reps from the USAFA, and they were like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to fly. They were like, like they could have effectively put me in like jumbo, like C-130s. I'm like, that's not.
By the way, I also was nearly, not in the academy, but nearly went to the Air Force, and because I wanted to do the same thing and learned that I was too tall.
Too tall to fly.
Yes. So it's like, okay, then you're not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's get into these two games from last night. We'll start with the backyard brawl. West Virginia falls to Pitt. 38-31 is your final. And it was a game that first off, Pitt gutted this thing out. This was a fight, dude.
So I got to admit, I started to watch this game, and I'm like, this is going to suck. This is not going to be good. And then West Virginia came out and said, we're going to play some ball. And it's like, okay, maybe I'll watch this a little bit more. Okay, maybe I'll just continue watching until, of course, I fell asleep. But I was really excited about it because I would normally not watch these teams play, but the play on the field was so compelling. It was so exciting. All the stuff that was happening. I mean, this game had everything, including good calls, bad calls, fake punts. I mean, so many different things.
Yeah. It was I don't know, man. Like there was. It
was like a bowl game.
It felt like a bowl game. You're not wrong. It did. It felt like a bowl game. And like we said, maybe it was because this was not because it was new, because it was fun, because it was exciting, because it was week one. This is a damn rivalry game, kids, right? A rivalry game that hasn't happened in 8 years for a variety of different reasons, right? This is one of those games that should be played every year. It should not be a question. This game should be played every year. This is one of the great college football games. Late in the game, West Virginia is driving. They are tied up 31-31. There's a tick over 3 minutes remaining in the football game. JT Daniels, former Georgia quarterback turned West Virginia transfer, felt like he was not in almost heaven. I was trying to work a John Denver pun in there. It didn't play out the way. Anyway, JT Daniels is driving down the field, is in really good shape. Really good shape. He's had momentum all night long. He is making a push, and he's got Bryce Ford Wheaton down on the left-hand side, wide open. Wide open that my pops would have described him as butt-naked open, right? I mean, just wide open down the left-hand side of the field. JT, in a twins left formation, drops in the pocket, sets his feet, and throws a strike directly at the young man. It hits him in the hands, pops out of the hands, off the top of the helmet, ricochets into the very grateful arms of NJ Devonshire, who takes it 56 back to the house. Pitt 6, 38-31 after the PAT.
All right, so whose fault is that?
Wide receivers.
Okay,
Wide
I was
receivers,
curious
and it's not
about
close.
what you would say. Yeah, I mean, a different perspective. Not that how would Rob will definitely look at this different. No, just a different perspective. Because I thought the same thing. I thought it was a receiver. The very next series, he comes back to that kid and he catches a couple balls, but that was a deciding factor in the game. Momentum changed. Everything changed. And up to that point, I thought West Virginia was going to pull off the upset. And then once they got behind, it's like, man, this is going to be hard for them.
By the way, Ford Wheaton in that game, 9 grabs, 97 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. He was having a night. And I promise you, he's going to look back and say, I'd give back all 9, the 97, and the 2 touches to have
he
that
was
catch
so
back.
open, too.
I mean,
and something else that really bothered me about the game is every time they show JT Daniels' picture, he looks like Mike Myers from So I Married an Axe Murderer. Did you not see that?
You're not wrong. I didn't pick up on it at the time, but I do now.
It's the hairstyle, and it just has the right size face. And it's like, I know this name from somewhere. Who is this guy? Why do I know him?
Yeah, it was. I hated it for that cat, man.
So he transferred from USC, right?
JT?
Yeah.
To Georgia, then to West Virginia.
Yeah. So it's like, man, I know this name. Shouldn't this guy be out of football by now?
It was, I mean, and I got the play. If you're not watching the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate or by going to YouTube and searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show, I have got the clip from ESPN's broadcast of this pick. Listen, JT did almost everything correctly last night, right? Did almost everything correctly and did everything correctly on this play. You got good protection on a 2-man blitz from Pitt. By the way, the Pitt blitz last night was incredible. Pittsburgh on the blitz was exceptional last night, and it took West Virginia a while to start to figure it out. So you got a 2-man blitz coming here from the safety and the linebacker, and they're coming to the same spot, right? They're just overloading the right side of the line. But the running back steps up, picks up the linebacker. You had the backside guard and running back who kind of shifted over and were able to eliminate the blitz. JT Daniels throws a strike and hits my guy in the hands. Could not have been a better ball. I mean, maybe it could have been a foot lower and hit him in the numbers. But considering he was up against a 6-man blitz, it was a great throw. Bryce Wheaton, it goes off his helmet. And just, I mean, it's as unlucky as it gets. 56 back the other way to house it, the pick 6, and that was it. That was the difference. I'll tell you what I loved, Lonzo. And again, if you're not watching the stream, look at the crowd behind the end zone. College football's back, dude. I mean, Pitt was popping last night. JT Daniels, 23 of 40. 214, a pair of touches, and a pick. Keaton Slovis was 16 of 24 for 308 and a touch. Here's what's interesting about that. Slovis had about 3 runs for first downs of 8 yards or better, right? And ended with negative 20 rushing yards. That's how good the Pitt blitz was. If you didn't watch that game and you saw Slovis ended with negative 20 yards, I think you'd look at it and you'd go, damn, you gave up, 3 sacks on that night maybe. Maybe 3 sacks surrendered last night. Keaton Slovis probably had about 25 positive yards rushing last night and still finished at minus 20 yards. That is how damn good the Pittsburgh blitz was. By the way, I'm looking at it, he was only sacked 3 times. Scratch that, I lied to you. He was sacked 5 times. He was sacked 5 times last night. Negative 20 rushing yards when and again, I'm doing this off the top of my head, but he had to have 25 yards rushing last night, positive, and still ended negative 20. You got to give it to him. That being said, it didn't matter when it came down to it. He threw the right balls at the right time. Ronnie Hammond Jr., 16 catches, 74 yards, and a pair of touches. You had 89 yards receiving out of Jared Wayne. Hanneman had, 16 carries for 74 yards. Wayne, 3 catches for 89. 71 for Kanata Mumfield. It was, it came down to, Lonzo, the catch that wasn't at the end of the game. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and put that one up on the stream too, just so we can kind of talk about that. Last few minutes of the game. I should say last few seconds of the game. 27 seconds left to play. West Virginia, the Mountaineers need to stick it in the end zone. Now, they have given up a couple of sacks on this drive. JT Daniels played exceptionally well to get them back to about the 28 going in. Lonzo and I watched the last 2 minutes of this game right before we went on the air. JT took a sack from like midfield all the way back to like the 38 on the other side of the field. Still got them down to the 28 going in. Drop back in the pocket. Once again against the blitz. Threw an absolute stunner over the middle to Smith, who went down, and everybody thought caught it. And it just barely rolled off the ground. Just barely rolled off the ground. It was ruled on review incomplete. The correct call, by the way. Social media blew up when it went to review. They're like, dude, that was cool. Give it to him, right? That was awesome. Give it to him.
Is that how that works in football? It looked really cool, so yeah, it was a catch.
They went into the locker room, and Neil Brown, who came over from Troy. Actually, I used to have Neil on my show all the time when I broadcasted in Pensacola, because Troy has a big presence in Pensacola. I like Neil Brown. Neil Brown got asked after the game, like, how'd you feel about that overrule? He goes, I don't know what a catch is. Neil, there's a lot of snags that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, you don't have to know exactly what a catch is. If the ball hits the ground and rolls in your receiver's hands, I know that was not a catch. That wasn't a catch. It looked awesome. It was a hell of an effort from JT. It was a hell of an effort from Smith. It was everything you could have asked for except the catch.
And it was moving so fast. I mean, how did they even spot that there was a chance that he didn't catch it? I guess because it was so low to the ground.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand why the referees ruled it complete on the field, right? It looked like he went down, had hands under. Yeah, the ball hit the ground, but it hit the ground in the control, in the possession of the receiver. In real time, that was an impossible call to get right. That's why replay is good in football, right? In previous ages of football, that call just stands. And West Virginia's got to go 1 yard in 20 seconds to tie that bad boy up and take it to OT or hit a two-pointer and win. They would not have deserved it. It wasn't a catch. That's why instant replay is good. But it was a remarkable effort from Reese Smith. It was a hell of a throw from JT Daniels. And they did everything right except make the catch. West Virginia was clutch last night. They just came up an inch short, right? If he gets his hands an inch lower and under that ball, we got a different game. I can't be upset about the end of that game. It was as good as we wanted it to be. Let's take a break. We'll talk more about that game. But when we come back, we had another really good one go down in the B1G with Purdue and Penn State last night. Little more questionable decision-making in that one. Penn State does go ice water at the end to put it away. We'll break that game down when we come back. Hour number 2, we take a look at the weekend schedule. Hour number 3, Lonzo and I go on the record with our Boo Box Bets selections. There's some good ones on the sheet, man. There's some tricky ones on the sheet. That's the third hour of the show. We got high school football coming up for you at 10:30 with the boys from the Moving the Chain podcast. It's going to be a busy day. Rob Lonzo, you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Joe Bright, same. You're not wrong. Not wrong.
I've spent a good part of my career going, man, someone's going to come in and go, why are you here? It's just, especially early on. I've got a little plot armor now, as much as you can get. But early on, it's like, no, I am in so much trouble. And
plot armor.
And Keegan, he's wearing his uniform today.
Yeah, man, this is work clothes, baby. Work clothes. Burns at Greenville tonight. First road test for the Rebs. Colby and the boys getting on the bus. Pretty excited about it. Pre-game at 7. Kickoff at 7:30. It's going to be a good day, Tater.
So when you walk the field, do you like eat the grass like Les used to do? I'm just curious.
I've never eaten grass. That's
not intentionally, probably.
Right.
We've all, had our, well, not all of us.
No,
if you haven't played backyard football, you probably have eaten a little grass.
Sam Lane and I usually hit the field about 10, 15 minutes before the team comes out for warm-ups. And usually we get a toss in. Like, usually we throw the ball a little bit. You got to loosen up, right? Put yourself in the mindset. Put yourself in the football headspace. So we throw a couple of 10-yard outs. I'm all-time QB. You know why? Because I don't want to run routes. So I'm all-time QB.
No. You want to run routes. You just don't want anyone to see you run routes.
No, I don't want to run.
Okay.
I don't want to run anything. I don't want to run a vacuum cleaner. That's how lazy I am.
I haven't been able to run correctly since 1987. I'd love to run.
I gotta tell you, I can still drop the hits and come out of cup. No worries. I can still drop the hips and come out of a cut.
Oh, I'll take anyone on in the building coming out of the stance, except for maybe Fat Boy, because he might crush me.
The difference between a good receiver and a great receiver is here. Boom. That's it. If you see a receiver who hits the brakes and the shoulders don't dip, that's not a good receiver.
See, I don't like this because I'm forced to look at Rob's hips because as a, former defensive player, that's what you're supposed to do. Watch where the hips go, so do you. And I don't want to do that.
Me, Michael Thomas, and Shakira. What do we have in common, Alonso?
Hips
don't lie.
I'm guessing you're going to say the hips don't lie, yes. Look at Mark Ryan putting up some video right after we just put up video of the same thing that we just put up video,
Where, on Twitter or Facebook?
It's on Twitter. I mean, good for him. Surprised he's up this early. He's a nightlife guy, so of course, he gets up like at noon probably. You think, Joseph, you might want to, figure that out before, Warehouse in the next break.
10-4.
I haven't been to a high school game since before COVID. Probably should roll out to one. You're right, it is. 7 p.m. is a long time from now. You know what else is a long time? When you're Rob Brown, it's a lightning delay. That's a long time. From what I understand, no weather in the area today, so you're probably good.
I hope, because I got to tell you, 10 o'clock kickoff.
Next week's totally different story, though.
You ever heard the phrase, it's not the fall that'll kill you, it's the sudden stop at the end? It's not the 10 o'clock kickoff that did me in. It was the 12:30 final whistle. And then still having a half hour of post-game to do.
Let me answer Steven's question. Yes, he will. He's the voice of Burns.
Yeah, I'll be at every Burns game.
He's going to be at every Burns game.
That's correct. Y'all going to talk the puke 6. Joe says, I think I'm doing – what do you mean doing Woodruff Jail Man? Are you calling the game? Or are you just going?
And he says, I asked why he didn't know yet. He said 7 p.m. is long. That's what that whole discussion was about, yeah.
Right, but doing what?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
Maybe he's going to the game. He could be. Yeah, he said doing the game. He said doing the game. So maybe he's covering it for someone.
I hate this commercial. Not because it's football.
He's just going to go.
I hate this commercial because they have that guy playing quarterback wearing number 99. All right, I do. You know what? I said we were going to switch to Penn State Purdue, and we will.
That's just so inaccurate, Rob.
I forgot about the one thing that I had to talk about. The one thing I had to talk about from that West Virginia game last night.
Against Pitt.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm like, who they play?
It's okay.
The West Virginia Pitt game last night. 6 minutes left to play in that contest. West Virginia has the ball on the Pitt 48. It is 4th and inches. And what does Neil Brown decide to do? Punt the football. He punts the football. Now, it's a decent punt, and it forced Pitt to go 92 to find pay dirt. Do you know what happened next? They went 92 and found pay dirt. Now, everybody busted up Neil Brown for that call. And I get it, right? There are cliches in football. You win games in the trenches. Whoever has fewer turnovers will win. There's
What
cliches.
about trust your defense? Trust your defense is going to get the stop.
Yeah, I get it. One of the cliches I hear in football all the time is, if you can't gain 1 yard, you don't deserve to win. And it will happen every single time. Every single time that a team has a 1 yard play that makes a difference, right? Every time a team has 1 yard to go, whether it's for a first down late in the game, whether it's for a touchdown early in the game and they're inside the one, it doesn't matter. You will hear the cliche, if you can't gain 1 yard, you don't deserve to win. And I get that. I honestly, and I might be alone in this, and based on social media last night, I don't have a problem with Neil Brown punting there, right? Don't have a problem. Pitt's offense had been playing good. They've been playing good, but it wasn't like they had been untouchable, right? Like, it wasn't like they had been untouchable. It wasn't like they were indefensible. So he punts. The punt pays off. It's an excellent punt. It pins Pitt at the 8 coming out. I would say this. Equally as accurate as the phrase, if you can't gain a yard, you don't deserve to win is if you can't stop an offense from going 92 yards in clutch time defensively and hold them to a touchdown at best, you don't deserve to win. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, but it's just as accurate. After that drive, Pitt would outscore West Virginia 14-0 the rest of the way down, right? The only way that I could see the argument of punting the ball was a bad decision there is that you don't trust your offense to score any more points, right? We got to take points where we can. Because the offense, you had been getting chased down. JT had been getting chased down consistently by a really good Pitt Panther blitz all night long. Very chaotic blitz. I enjoyed watching it. But if the pick, by the way, the pick six should not have happened, right? Lonzo, if that pick six doesn't happen, West Virginia probably wins the football game.
Absolutely.
Because not only does it take 7 off the board for Pitt, but it probably adds at least 3 on for the Mountaineers. That catch, considering how butt-naked wide open he was, he's got another 10 yards after catch minimum on that play. You are down at the 25, 27-yard line. You now take 7 off the board for Pitt. You add 3 on for Almost Heaven, West Virginia. That's a 10-point swing. If that Pitt 6 doesn't happen, West Virginia wins that football game. Neil Brown was not crazy or wrong for punting the ball. He just needed his wide receiver to make that catch, and it's game over, and that play worked out perfectly.
Well, Rob, that's why they play the game. Swings like that will happen.
Yeah.
Decisions are made. Some are good, some are bad, and it can cost you the game. And sometimes cost you your job.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not going to cost Neil Brown his job yet. But here's what I'm saying.
As long as it's not a pattern.
Here's what I'm saying. If you are busting up Neil Brown, for calling that punt, you also have to bust up that wide receiver because that pick 6 was the game.
See, I blame video games for part of this because none of us are punting right there. If you're playing a video game, you're going for it. And how often do you punt anyway? So I think it's a video game mentality that people think should always go for it on fourth. How often does that happen though, really, in football, any level? How often do they really go for it on fourth down? Especially at that point part of the field.
By the way, Neil Brown's only 42. So he's very much of the Madden generation. Ain't no doubt about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't.
I'm talking about from a fan perspective. From a fan perspective, why did he go for it? Why did he not go for it? I'd have went for it. Yeah, but you're not the coach.
I don't know, man. I got no problem with the punt. In fact, it was the right decision. Neil Brown got asked after the game, if you could redo it, would you? Right? If we could reverse time. 88 and DeLorean, share. If I could turn back.
Oh, man, I knew you were going there, and you sound more like Miss Piggy singing it, but that's fine.
If I could find a way.
Miss Piggy died right there at the end.
If you could share yourself back to that call, would you do it again? He was like, yeah. And I would too. I got no problem with it. Is defense not half of the game? Right? Like, I get it. You gut run that. You QB sneak that. You get the first down. You hang on to the ball. Who's to say that your defense doesn't go out there? It didn't have to be a 3 and out. Hell, they can kick a field goal in that spot. You're probably still in pretty decent shape. Right? Stop beating up Neil Brown. It wasn't as awful as a decision as you guys make it. If the pick 6 doesn't happen, the Mountaineers win that football game. One mistake. That was it. Hour 2's around the corner. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate.
Warehouse.
I have a new game day tradition. You will too. It is called the Warehouse at Midtown. Let me tell you about it. First off, it is not a bar, per se. I mean, they have 26 taps. They have a full liquor bar. So if you want to have a nice little cold beverage while you watch your favorite football team play, you're covered. It is a food hall. What do I mean by that? I'm glad you asked, hypothetical listener I just made up for this situation. They have every food choice you can imagine. Quick, think of a food. They have that. They do. They've got everything you can think of. Let me tell you what happened last week. I went there with our buddy Kevin from downstairs. We met Thomas, the proprietor of the establishment. He brought out the best buffalo chicken pizza I've ever had. He brought out the best Philly that I have found in Greenville so far. And he brought out pulled pork barbecue loaded nachos on potato chips. I don't want potato chips, Thomas. And then I ate one. Absolutely delightful. It was fantastic, right? Washed it down with a Los Bravos Mexican lager. Oh, it was absolutely spectacular. And if that's not enough to get your palate going, to get you over to the Warehouse in Midtown, on game day, 2 hours before every Clemson and South Carolina football game, they have some incredible tailgate specials, including 50-cent wings. You know who else is doing 50-cent wings? Nobody. Nobody's doing that right now. 50-cent wings, half-price pulled pork nachos on loaded chips, and other tailgate specials like the $5 mystery shot wheel and $2 domestics, ladies and gentlemen. They are at 1418 Lawrence Road in Greenville, next to the Trek Bicycle Shop. 15 big screens. Happy hour specials 2 hours before every Clemson and South Carolina game. I will be there Monday night for Clemson, Georgia Tech, and I'm not trying to blackmail you, but Lonzo might show up too. I'm just saying. Monday night, we're going to be there, but you should go there and watch all the action this weekend. It is the Warehouse at Midtown, 1418 Lawrence Road in Greenville. It is your new game day tradition. It is the Warehouse at Midtown. Ooh, Boo Box entry. Rob has to do an entire segment as Miss Piggy Share. No, I want people to still listen to the show.
Plus, you will lose your voice.
100%. I don't hate him. I don't love him, but I don't hate him. I'll show the stream since you guys are all hanging out and awesome.
Oh, all the shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the new LeBron 20 colorways. I don't.
What is colorways? I mean, as is like
just colors. They're just
like the color rush thing,
as opposed to black or white.
Okay, all right.
These are purple, gold swish, blue behind it. I don't hate them. You know what they look like? They kind of look like toddler shoes a little bit, right? They kind of look like now. These, on the other hand, not the red stripe. Go to it. Switch over, computer, today. Of course, why not? Let's see. There you are. These right here that I'm about to pull up, those are dope. Those are good.
They look like track shoes.
I'm literally wearing shoes that look like track shoes. They're called trainers.
Yeah, because they're track shoes. They even have spikes on the bottom of them.
That's a good-looking set of kicks, man. That was
not only do they look like track shoes, they look like cocky track shoes. Like the dude that's the fastest guy on the team wears.
Hey, man, if you earn the right to wear gold shoes, wear gold shoes. Oh, listen to this. So, day before yesterday, Courtney goes, I need to go clothes shopping. Do you want to go to the mall with me? And this may shock you, but I enjoy hanging out with my girlfriend. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go to the mall with you. Why not? So we go to the mall, and in the mall, there is a store, a high-end shoe store. When I say shoes, I'm talking basketball shoes. It's basically a Jordan's store. We're walking by the window. I have never owned a pair of Jordans in my life. I'm not against it. I've never been able to spend that kind of money on shoes.
Yeah, I can't. No, right? I have a limit of what, and even when I do spend the limit, I'm like, I do not. Yeah.
I walk by. They have a set of black Jordans, Air Force Ones, with gold trim, the gold Nike mark, gold around the tongue, gold around the shoe, gold laces, like it, and it's Saints black and gold. So we're looking through the window, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And Courtney looks in, and she's like, the black and gold ones? I'm like, the black and gold ones. I'm like, let me go in. Because today's payday.
$250, I'm guessing.
I'm like, let me go look at these shoes. I might splurge on these. These might be game day kicks, right? Like, these might just be, they get brought out 17 times a year on Sundays, and that's it. I go in to look. Air Force Ones, black with gold trim. You said $250? $500.
Whoa. Look.
$500. Yeah,
Dark
Zach,
new.
yes.
Dark new.
Look at Zach popping in knowing exactly what he's talking about. $500.
No.
I looked at her and I said, I cannot wait until I am irresponsibly rich.
Even then, I'd be worried about getting jumped. I mean,
$500, dude. Welcome back, y'all. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's Fan Upstate. Lonzo just went and found the tweet of the new Bronze. Bronze starting to put out shoes that ain't basketball shoes. They're just sneakers. And just found the new colorways. They're like fabric on the outside. They're like what is that? Lavender. They're like a lavender purple with a solid purple sole in the back and paisley on the front. A gold check mark down the side with a blue one shadowing it. Orange lace. It's a lot. It's a lot. Well, I was telling the story during the break to the folks on the stream, which if you're not on the stream, you're wrong. Facebook.com/FanUpstate, or go to YouTube, search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show. So I went to the mall on, what would that be, Wednesday afternoon with the lady friend. You know, it's college football season. My Saturdays are ate up now. My Sundays start getting ate up next weekend. Like the amount of time I can spend with the lady friend has just gotten limited dramatically courtesy of football. So when there's not football on and she asked me to do something, this may shock you, I actually enjoy spending time with my lady friend. So she's like, I need new clothes. Can we go to the mall? I'm like, yeah, we'll go to the mall. Let's go to the mall. We go to the mall. We get to the mall, though, and we walk by. There's a high-end sneaker store in the Haywood Mall. We're walking by. Now, I'm just there for her. The way it works is we go shopping. She brings me along just to give her my honest opinion, right? Babe, that's not your best look, or yep, that's the one. Whatever. Let's go bananas. I'm here to help.
Do you not drop into the nerd spots while you're in there? I'm just, curious.
This is so we go store to store for the stuff she's looking for. But if I see something in a store I'm going to go into and I'm like, babe, I want to go in there. She's like, all right, let's go. We went into the Lego store because my nephew's into Star Wars right now, and he loves Star Wars and Legos. So I'm getting him like a dope Lego. By the way, the Lego Millennium Falcon, Lonzo, $900.
I was going to say, you went into the Lego store, you saw the prices, you left the Lego store, right?
Little Legos.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Anyway.
You might even want to buy those at another place.
Yeah. So we pop into different stores. Like we pop into the one if I see something I want to go into. So we're walking by the high-end shoe store. And basically this store only sells like Air Force Ones and that caliber, Yeezys, right? Like the expensive shoes. Well, I'm looking through the window of this store. Y'all, I've never owned a pair of Jordans in my life, right? Because when I was growing up, like Pops didn't hit me with the Walmart sneakers, right? I could get the Nikes, but Pops wasn't spending $200 on basketball shoes. He'd be like, you get $100 to buy whatever shoes you want.
Wow.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
That's how
fortunate.
That's how the other half lives. Okay.
Yeah, us 1%ers.
I had to wear Kmart shoes because Walmart didn't exist yet.
Yeah. So I'd get $100, buy whatever shoes you want. $100, that's your limit, that's your cap with tax. You little jerk. Anyway, I thought to myself, we're doing pretty good around here. Picked up another couple of endorsements. Picked up burns. Unfortunately, we have reached the end of Bet for the Cycle. That show is no mas, but made a little extra scratch there. I thought, I've been doing pretty well. The last 4 weeks since I got back from vacation, I have been working my rear end off. Maybe I'll get myself a little pick-me-up, right? Well, I'm looking through the store window, and there is in the window a pair of black Air Force Ones with all gold trim. And when I say gold, I don't mean like, you know how the Steelers wear yellow and they try to tell you it's gold when it's very clearly yellow because we all went to kindergarten and know our colors, right? They had Saints gold, actual gold, gold. Black Air Force Ones, gold trim, gold swoosh on the side, gold soles, gold around the laces, gold. And I looked at him and I'm like, you know what? # treat yourself. I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to grab those. Those are dope. I'm going to treat myself. I'm thinking a couple $100, $250. Like, you know what? Those will be game day shoes. Those shoes, I will pick those up, and those shoes will only be for Saints game day. On Sundays, I will wear those shoes. And when I'm done wearing those shoes, they go back in the box in the back of the closet. And that's it. That'll be my treat to myself. I'll look fly on game days with some black and gold. I walk into the store. The dude's like, hey, man, take a look around. You got any questions? Let me know. If you want to grab some shoes, just holler at me. Because every shoe in there, Lonzo, they're so expensive. Every shoe in there is individually vacuum sealed in cellophane, right? Individually. So I'm like, all right, man, appreciate it. Walk in.
Was Patrick Mahomes working in there?
Should have been. I don't know if he could afford some of these shoes on his salary. I roll in there. I pick up the black Air Force One with the gold trim, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to splurge. This is going to be my treat. This is going to be my early Christmas present. I pick it up. I flip it over. $500 for a pair of sneakers. $500 for a pair of sneakers. The only thing, this is what happened. I pick up the shoes. The girlfriend walks in. She says to me, because she's amazing, she's like, tell you what, if you want those and they're expensive, I'll split them with you. I'll buy one of the shoes, you buy the other one, right? I'll split them with you. That'll be my present to you. Like it's an early Christmas present. I'm like, all right, I appreciate it. We'll see. Pick up the shoe. I'm like, yep, nope, not doing that. Not doing that. Even though it would have cost me the money, it cost me exactly the amount I thought it was going to cost me, right? It cost me $250. I'm like, no, I cannot justify giving anybody $500 for shoes. I cannot wait. I put the shoe down. I turned around and walked out. I didn't even say anything to her or the dude working there. I just put the shoe down and walked around. Because I'm like, if I stay in the store too long, I'm going to knock something over and I'm going to be buying $500 shoes. So I put the shoe down. I walk out the front door of the store. She's like, oh, okay. Follows me out. We get outside, and she's like, you good? And all I could go is, I cannot wait until I am irresponsibly rich like some people and just walk straight into TJ Maxx, y'all. $500 for shoes? Them shoes better cook me breakfast, son.
There are people out there who will save, all year long just to buy a pair of shoes like that. What's your limit? What would the price have had to have been where you went, okay, let's do this?
I think I was probably prepped for $250. I think I'd have probably done them for $250.
No way I would do that. I mean, you're walking on those. I mean, and there's dirt.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And there's scuffing.
This would have been game day only, and only if it's not raining, right? This would have been from the closet to the car to a bar, and not a dive bar. I wouldn't be rocking around in no outside dirt dive bar. This would have been closet to the car to the bar, to the table, from the table to the car, from the car back to the house, and they go right back in the box. This would have been like, let me walk in on game day and have folks go, damn, nice sneaks, Rob. It's a good look.
See, I guess I'm just cheap.
But $250 was it.
I guess I'm just cheap. I will go in to buy shoes, and my wife was like, you like those? Why'd you walk away? And I will show her the price, and she's like, go ahead and get them. I was like, no, I just can't do it. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't spend that much money on shoes.
I have no doubts. I have no doubt that had I been like, you know what, I want them, I just can't do 5. In fact, she did. She's like, I'll pick up half for you. Like, that'll be a early Christmas present that you can have for football season. It's like, it's not about the $250. It's not about, it'll still cost me what I thought I was willing to pay. It's about, I can't give nobody $500 for shoes, dude.
I am curious how a store like that, I mean, how many sales do they have to make before they make their quota for the week? Really?
They made 3 while I was in there.
Really?
I was in there maybe 7 minutes. I watched them sell 3 pairs of shoes at $500. They made $1,500 in 7 minutes while I was in there. Now obviously you got to take out pay, but what are you paying that sales clerk? Maybe $20 an hour to work in there because it's super high end, right? So in the time I was in there, they paid the employee $6. What's it cost? Well, like what does it cost you to buy the shoes inventory to stock them? $300? They probably made $700-800 while I was in there for 7 minutes. So that's how. It just blew my mind, man. It just blew my mind. And it's not a dig on people who want to spend $500 on shoes. I promise you, I've spent my money on dumber stuff. But, I couldn't do it.
You know, you could get like a PS5 or
that was literally
Xbox.
Yeah, that literally went across my head. I was
yeah.
like, I just pick up a PS5 and have both next gens. All right, let's get into this. College football managers. They gloss themselves, right? They call themselves that, right? Guys, what do we want to call ourselves? Czars? Nah, that sounds a little too bad. All right, how about administrators? Little too formal. How about managers? College football playoffs board of managers are holding a virtual meeting today. What are they going to talk about, Lonzo?
Expansion.
Correct. Playoff expansion. And according to the big heads in the know, Pete Thamel and Heather Dinich have just written an article that went up on the S-Spin earlier where they quoted, quote, a source with knowledge of the conversations, end quote, that a move towards an expanded playoffs, Lonzo, next season, said, quote, there is momentum. There is definitely momentum, end quote. Sports Illustrated cited what they called another source with knowledge of the conversations and said that it is right now, by those on the managers board, considered a 50-50 chance whether there will be any kind of vote today. Any kind of vote about whether we expand or not. 50-50 chance on a vote for expansion today. Now, Bill Hancock, CFP Executive Director, has declined to confirm or deny the report that the vote is even possible at this point. The management committee is composed of the 10 FBS commissioners and Jack Swarbrick from Notre Dame. They will meet today. They will meet again next week to continue its expansion discussions, but the members are waiting to hear what the presidents decide, if anything, today. And if there is a bunch of positive momentum towards expansion, towards a thumbs up for expansion, there is according to Thamel Dinich and Sports Illustrated, a 50-50 chance that a vote might come out today for expanded playoffs starting in 2024. Y'all, that is either next season or the season. Not 2024 is either next year or the year after that. No, obviously next year's 23. But you got to wonder if this might push that potential to the 2023-24 season, or if it means we wait till 24-25 season. But
unless there's already pre-planning in place, they would have to at least wait another year.
I don't think you could keep a lid on that.
For organization, I mean, because you're expanding, so certain bowls no longer will be just bowls. They will suddenly be playoff. It just, I mean, they would have to have something in place already to do it even that quick, wouldn't they?
If they are moving towards expansion, there will be a lot of legal discussions regarding like bowl contracts and stuff, right? But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Not a single bowl has to go away. You just got to add more games onto the end or shift a couple of bowls up a week to expand, right? Now, playoff brackets got to be a factor of 2, right? 2, 4, 8, 16. It's got to be an exponential factor of 2 if you don't want teams getting an early bye. If you want to have teams with a bye, then you can do whatever number you want to do. I have zero clue, based on everything I've read, I have zero clue what is the proper way, right? And what might be the front runner for the expanded number. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307 says, Rob, it's stupid to expand to 12. There are only 3 or 4 who can win, so why give them a bye week? Go to 8 or 16. I actually agree. I'd be fine starting with 8, to be honest with you, right? I'd be fine starting at 8. I think there have been years, Lonzo, not this year, but I think there have been years where you could say there are 5 or 6 teams that can win a title. This year there's 3. But I think there have been some years where you could say there are 5 or 6 teams that are threats to win a title. I don't think there's ever been a year where there's been more than 6 or 7. So 16's just too many. Not in terms of I want less football. I don't. If they go to 16, though, more football for me. Right? It's like the people, I'm not watching the Bahamas Bowl. There's too many bowl games. Well, shut up. There's too much football. Alonzo, you ever been sitting around July 13th and thinking, I'm glad there were fewer bowl games. There's just too much football. No. So you may have to add. You may have to add a game or two. But who the hell cares? That's good.
You know what? Suddenly, certain bowl games that really weren't that important suddenly become more important, and more people may actually go to them and watch them.
Yes.
How could that be a bad thing, Rob? I don't know how that could be a bad thing.
It's not like at all. So I don't know, man. I agree with the texter. I think 8's a fine number. I don't want 12, right? I want an even bracket. Give me 8 or give me 16. Well, no, I guess 12 will give you an even number, right? Yeah, you'd have even if you did 12. Numbers are hard, Lonzo. Get off me. Anyway, the point is, give me an even number. Actually, no. 12 team, you gotta have 4 with a bye if you go 12. Top 4 would get a bye if you go 12. You gotta have 4 with a bye. I was right. I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Why would they have to have a bye?
Because if you did them all, you would still in the second round, you would have extra teams left over that wouldn't be able to play. Scratch that. If you set it up as a 12, and you gave the top 4 a bye, you get 5-9, or excuse me, you get. Let me pull up now I got to pull up a bracket to look at it because I can't see numbers in my head because it turns out I am an idiot. 1, 2, 3, and 4 would get buys. You'd have an 8-9 matchup, a 5-12 matchup, a 7-10 matchup, and a 6-11 matchup. Theoretically, if you set it up this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I guess you could have 1, 12, 2, 11 all the way down. No, I guess you wouldn't have to have a bye. Just most 12 brackets do. This is the worst segment of radio I've ever done. I should have written this down.
They're going to go to 8. They're not going to go to 12.
I think they go to 8. I think 8's the right number, too.
8's the easiest thing to do right away to see if expanding it works.
Yeah.
And if 8 doesn't seem to be successful, then you don't go any further.
Yeah. And I think it gives you an easy out, right? 5 conference champs and 3 at large. 5 conference champs, 3 at large. And it creates a situation where a team like a Cincinnati can get in as opposed to right now without being a big-time conference champion. It just makes sense. Blah, blah, blah. We don't need to do this. We're having the what color do you want your Lamborghini to be discussion. It doesn't matter. We're never getting one. At least that's been the thought. Now the question is, are the managers going to, in their meeting today, are their managers today going to pull the trigger on an accelerated expansion? I hope they do. More football's not bad. We don't know what else is going to be discussed in the meeting. We will find out. Hopefully we'll get some reports tomorrow. But I will tell you, there is a very good chance that today could be a very important day in football history, college football history. If they decide to accelerate the playoffs today, there will be no stopping it, right? If they decide to accelerate the schedule today, there will be no stopping it. It will happen. It will happen soon. If they don't decide to accelerate it today, you give the folks who are anti-playoff a lot of time to push back against it and to come up with arguments against it. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. And after I'm done apologizing for how terrible that segment is because I suck at numbers.
So 5 minutes ago. Let it go, man.
Let it go. Let's take a look at where the betting money is coming in on week 1 college football games. That is going to give us an indication on what might happen this Saturday. Then, at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, Lonzo and I make our Boo Box bets. This is your last chance. You have 40 minutes to get your Boo Box bets punishments in on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. You have 39 minutes to get your Boo Box bets punishments in for Lonzo and I. Whatever's in the box at 11 o'clock, that will be what's in the Boo Box for punishment number 1 when we come back on Monday. Let's take a break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. And of course,
Warehouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the Warehouse at mid.
Stay away from the microphone. I won't get yelled at again. Come on, James. Take it easy on my friends. We are family and stuff.
All right, quick little segment here. I do want to bring up something that I thought's a really good point from Trey. I'm take a break because we've got the Moving the Chains fellas coming in here in just a second. Trey brought up on the stream. He said, quote, "Is it fair to say that when the playoffs started, there was around 8 teams that could have won the championship, but since it's been 4 for a few years, the top 4 has usually gotten the top recruits?" That, I think, is a potential benefit of expanding the playoffs, right? As it feels right now, yes. It feels like the teams that have been predominantly dominating the recruiting lately have been the teams that have consistently been in the playoffs or threatening to get into the playoffs. And that becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you get the good recruits because you go to the playoffs, then you're going to go to the playoffs because you've got the good recruits, which gets you good recruits because you went to the playoffs. Here is, let's take a look at our top 10 in recruiting for 2023, Lonzo. Top 10, starting at number 10. I will say 2. The 2 surprise entries on this list are 9 and 10, right? Surprises at 9 and 10. Florida is ranked number 10 right now, according to 24/7. And Miami is ranked number 9. Those are both a little surprising because neither one's really been close lately, but Billy Napier was known as a great recruiter. Mario Cristobal is as well. So not a huge shock, but a little bit of one because they just haven't been there. Here's your top 8. You ready? Clemson, I'd say they've had mild success for the last decade.
Just a little bit.
LSU, who, yes, has been in a struggle, but every year LSU is a threat.
Still been a championship recently.
Yep. Ohio State is number 6. At number 5, I don't know if you consider this a surprise or not, but the expectations have been playoffs the last few years. Oklahoma is at number 5 right now. Notre Dame is at number 4. Georgia number 3. Texas is at number 2. And Alabama's at number 1. Right? Inside the top 10, predominantly teams that have been in the playoffs multiple times over the past 8 years. Right? No doubt about that. You got to wonder if you open up the playoffs to 8. Maybe you'll see a Penn State jump in there. USC gets back to prominence. Oregon. By the way, South Carolina ranked number 15 right now. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Point is, expanding the playoffs means more teams make the playoffs. And what's a better recruiting pitch? Hey, we're a playoff team. And you, kid, might be the dude that puts us over the edge. And oh, by the way, what teams do you think are going to be the best in the NIL? The ones that are on TV, the ones that are talked about, the ones that are visible. Who's going to be on top? Who's going to be more visible than teams in the playoffs? I think that's a fantastic possible consequence of expanding the playoffs. More teams open up with, hey, kid, we're a playoff team. We're right there. We're in the mix. We just need a couple of pieces to push us over the edge, and you're one of them. Spread out the recruiting. Because like I said, there's very little parity in college football right now. This might help that. Very well might help that. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we wrap up hour number 2 as we do on Fridays with the fellas from the Moving the Chains podcast. Kevin and Jarrell going to be in the building today. We'll run over the games of the week in high school football when we come back. I am Rob. The great one Lonzo's at the helm. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate.
I saw that, Josh, and I thought you were in Canada. I was going to say, why are you in Canada? I hope Pigeon Forge ain't white yet, because I hate snow.
No, that was... Come on, Clayton, get it together.
That was his first start back yesterday? I remember.
Yes. Jarrell, Lonzo, Jarrell.
How are you? Nice
Hey.
to meet you.
Good.
Oh, man.
You should get a nicer press box than
Remember,
Are you going to Serene?
Yeah, we're...
What do you think, mate?
Please move your mic where you're not talking sideways into it because we do lose some stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
10 seconds.
All right, putting a bow on hour number 2 already. It's college football weekend, y'all. Hell of a slate of games last night. Got a few that could be very good tomorrow, and we're going to get into those when Lonzo and I make our Boo Box Bets picks coming up here in about 20 minutes. But before we get there, it's time to talk a little high school football around the upstate with the boys from the Moving the Chains podcast. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/movingchains. No G, because they're cool like that. Moving Chains. You can find them on Twitter and Instagram at Moving Chains, and their podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. You can also find them at Moving Chains on Twitter. On Friday nights after the games start going final around the upstate, they host a Twitter Spaces, which is actually kind of dope because they break down the games, but they also invite coaches and players and fans and whoever stops by to come in and talk about their game. Kevin Thomas is in the building. Jarrell Hendricks is in the building. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, Rob?
How you doing, Rob? It's good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you boys back. And Jarrell in studio for the first time, man. Let's jump in to some of these. And obviously, we're going to start with the team with the handsomest play-by-play man in all the business, as Burns is going to be at Greenville, their first road test. But let's go back real quick, just a couple of seconds on last week's game, a 54-7 win over Chapman. And for the second week in a row, Burns in the second half does not look like Burns in the first half. First half wasn't bad. 21 points in the first half. They also had a couple of overthrows from Colby Shaw, a couple of drops here and there. Something's happening. I don't know if this is, and I'd like to credit it to the Burns coaching staff making some really impressive adjustments in the second half. But this second half team needs to work on finding some consistency in the first half because you're going to get away with it with 3 and 4A schools. But in 4 weeks, when you switch to Division 5 and you're going regional competition, I don't know that you're going to be able to you're not going to let teams run away from you in the first half and catch them in the second half. Talk to me a little bit about what you saw out of Burns last week in that 54-7 win over Chapman.
I feel like last week, Rob, you can almost kind of understand it because of the late start. You know, so many delays, pushed back the game to about 9:30, whatever it was there. You couldn't really get going early, but that second half, Shaw ends up throwing 4 touchdown passes. Just too much explosiveness. The Cook kid, the Bomar kid, they really get outside. I mean, they wear you down, especially these smaller schools. A lot of big-time playmakers outside that got loose there in the second half.
I'm interested in this. So Burns goes on the road for the first time. It looked to me the last couple of weeks like there were a little bit of early jitters out of Burns. Colby had a couple of overthrows that, and again, not dramatic. I mean, they weren't like, ESPN not top 10, but they were just fingertipped overthrows. And then once that dude starts to settle down a little bit, take a breath, all of a sudden Kai Cook is popping off 60-yard touchdowns. I mean, they've got that ability. Greenville, on the other hand, 0-2. They dropped one 36-29 to T.O. Hanna last night, but they got a lot of talent offensively. Drell, are we in for a shootout in this one tonight?
Yeah, potential shootout here, and Burns better not start slow for this game because Greenville's got talent all over the field. You talked about the offensive side. You got Tyler Brown, the wide receiver, committed to Minnesota. Junior Mazio Bennett's one of the best playmakers in the state. They got 2 great backs in Sherman and Pepper. And then they got the young sophomore quarterback, Jordan Sink, coming along. So they definitely better bring their A game. It's a step up in competition. Really excited to see what that offense does against the Burns defense, who's been extremely dominant this year.
Give me your picks on this one.
I'm leaning Burns in a close one. Them being on the road does scare me some, especially, with the Dingle kid out as well. Yep. I'm worried a little bit about that. I think Burns a little too much firepower, and the Greenville defense has not impressed me yet this year.
Yeah, I gotta go with Burns as well in this game, and just gotta see if they can get that run game going against the Greenville defense that has given up a lot.
Yeah, Miguel Dingle, we did get the news, unfortunately, out for the year, separated shoulder. We got that from Coach Shaw after last week's game where he was listed as unavailable. That is a big blow to lose him all the way early in week number 1. But they do have R.J. Livingston, who I think is going to go down as maybe the most so far underappreciated runner in the region, and he's got a chance for a big one tonight. I'm leaning Burns in this one, too. Let's get to some other games of the week. And a battle of undefeated. Powdersville is at Malden. Both of these teams undefeated. Powdersville has won a couple. Malden is 1-0. Powdersville is interesting for the same reason that I think you mentioned with Greenville. They got a ridiculous amount of offensive talent, but the defense has just not showed up yet. What do y'all see in this one?
Yeah, Powdersville got carved up on defense. Luckily, they were able to put up 55 points against a good Abbeville team last week. But they got Eli Hudgens, Drake Sloan, Thomas Williams, the Virginia Tech commit. Powdersville just may be too much for Malden. Malden played against Bowling Springs last week. Bowling Springs team that's still rebuilding. They won that game 20-7. But I think Powdersville pulls the upset in this one.
Should be a fun game there, a 3A, 5A matchup. Malden ran the ball better than I thought they would last year. Had a guy go for about 200. I still think Powdersville a little bit too much firepower. I think they win this game against a bigger school tonight.
Hammond is 1-1. They are at Gaffney, who is 0-1 as of right now. That being said, Hammond won in a 49-0 shutout last week. They bring back a lot of starters, but unfortunately not super deep. How does that play out tonight in their matchup against Gaffney?
Yeah, this is a weird matchup because Hammond's a big-time Skeeza school, a private school here in the area, Rob, that you never see play a big school like Gaffney. You know, Hammond is literally the 5-time defending state champion in Skeeza. They don't quite have the depth and size of a Gaffney. Skeeza schools can match up with the 1 or 2A school in public school. They can't play these 4 and 5A schools. They've got a lot of talent on offense, a lot of experience, like you said, 9 guys back. Gaffney's got a lot of inexperience on defense, 7 sophomores starting. I think Gaffney just has too much size up front on both lines. Hammond's going to have a tough time to win this ballgame tonight.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. I think Gaffney is just too big, too fast, too strong, and just too deep for that Hammond team. I do like the Hammond coach who was interviewed this week saying that he was not afraid of failure in his team scheduling that game. But I think at the end, Gaffney gets back on the right track. They had a game canceled last week early due to some issues with weather. But I think Gaffney gets on track, and I think the Indians win.
Issues with weather. Like a 10 p.m. kickoff. It's time old. It's tiring. Southside Christian is 0-2, looking for their first win against the 1-1 Abbeville team. Got run a little bit last week, but it was against a really, really good Charlotte Christian school. This one could be interesting too.
Yeah, this is a great game where Southside Christian, we don't see them lose games at all. They have the chance of going 0-3 if they can't pull off the win against Abbeville. Abbeville's a little banged up going into this game, though. But Abbeville did go toe-to-toe with Powdersville. But for some reason, I'm leaning Abbeville still to beat Southside Christian. They go 0-3.
I think the Sabres get a win. I think they do get on the board this week. They hadn't lost since 2019, Rob, until 2 weeks ago. They lost 2 in a row now this season. Abbeville, like Jarrell said, Zay Rayford's a game-time decision at quarterback. The backup played well last week in, kind of third quarter, fourth quarter action. I feel like he's going to kind of take a step back. I like the Sabres to get a win behind Ja'Cory Martin tonight.
Here's one I'm looking at. Clover at Hillcrest. And I'm interested in Clover at Hillcrest because you guys, from what I understand, selected Avery McFadden as your player of the week. However, the fan upstate selected Bennett Judy, the Hillcrest quarterback, for our player of the week. 456 and 6 TDs through the air. So it's a move in the chains player of the week via fan upstate player of the week. Who we got?
This Hillcrest team is so fun to watch, Rob. They have playmakers all over offense. Bennett Judy, the quarterback, McFadden, the receiver, Jalen Neal out wide, Thomas Stanley, Logan Colger running the ball there. They are just very explosive, and really defense has played well this year. Gave up 14 last week to Greer, held their first opponent to a low number as well. Hillcrest is going to win this game as well at home against Clover. They're about to go 3-0 this week.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. That Hillcrest offense is too explosive. We kind of hedged our bets on our picking of the player of the week. I mean, we definitely could have went with Bennett, but Avery McFadden is just an absolute stud. Clover, they played Northwestern last week, actually was a pretty tight game after Northwestern dropped 89 week 0. But I think the Hillcrest Rams are just too much.
How about the Wade Hampton Generals getting on the board? Ladies and gentlemen, they win. If they win tonight, that's called 2 in a row. They put one more in there. That's called a winning streak. It has happened before, gentlemen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I have to go first here because I'm a Travelers Rest alum, and we were the victims of the end of the streak. So congratulations to the Generals there for doing that at my expense. But I think Wade Hampton has a legitimate shot to win this game. They got a Brewster kid that's playing running back that has been really, really impressive for them. Easily got smoked by Daniel last week. But I think the Generals string it together and get that win streak going.
I agree there. First win in, I think, 25 games. I like Coach Miller, really good coach. I've had a tough time getting that program turned around, but hopefully they're on the right track. I think they might actually win 3 or 4 ball games this year, Drell and Rob, if they really, come together. I think they might.
Let's talk real quick west side of TL Hanna. You got a little Anderson rivalry going on. TL Hanna 2-0 to start the year.
TL Hanna has not been talked about enough. We didn't give them a lot of props going into the year because they had 40 seniors last year that graduated.
Unfollow. Yeah. Unsubscribe.
I was like, they can't be good. They can't be. But they've shut out Bowling Springs. They beat a good Greenville team last week. Westside on the other side lost to BHP in a close game last week. I think TL Hanna goes 3-0. They win that Anderson County rivalry this Friday night.
Yeah, that wing T is just so hard to stop, and the Hanna Yellow Jackets run it to perfection. I think they beat Westside. And yeah, like Kevin said, they go 3-0.
Greenwood, last one we'll get into here. Greenwood at Dorman.
This game might last an hour and a half. Both teams like to run the ball a whole lot. Dorman behind Marquis Anderson, DJ Gett, those guys. Demarius Foster had a big game week 0. Kendall Lewis had a big game week 1. Greenwood runs that kind of wing T triple option there. This game may be over really quickly. I think Dorman a little too much size up front. I think they win a close ball game here at home tonight.
Love V. Morton at Greenwood, but this is a tune-up game for the Cavs. Dorman wins this game easily going away in the second half.
I like it. I like it. It is the boys from the Moving the Chains podcast. Again, find them on social media, across all the social media at Moving Chains. They also have a website up called movingchains.com. And make sure if you're on Twitter that you are following at Moving Chains. They'll do their Twitter spaces tonight. Make it a special guest popping in there at some point after the Burns game. We'll see if I'm in the mood.
I hope so.
Yeah, man.
Come on, Rob.
Yeah, man. High school football's the best, baby. It really is. We got some really good games coming up this evening. Appreciate you coming in, fellas.
Appreciate
good
you,
to see
Rob.
y'all as always.
Always good to be in.
All right, kids. It's time. Lonzo's over there. He's rubbing his hands together. He's twirling the mustache. He's excited because to open up the next hour, the Boo Box Bet segment, and the loser of 10 college games against the spread will pop open the box on Monday and eat a punishment. Maybe literally. Vegemite's in the box. Hot dog beer straw is in the box. Wear a dress is in the box. Lonzo wears his hair in a man bun for an entire show is in the box. There are some rough punishments in there, so you better believe the research has been done. We'll make our picks when we come back to start off hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, stream, don't go anywhere. Be right
Prism in the first break.
10-4.
So where I migrated everything, I cannot find your rundown because all my stuff shows up, including stuff that was in Word from like 5 years ago.
Do you want to see the pics? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, but I mean, I can get them
Screenshot
later.
them to you. At least you'll have them.
Or maybe just share the doc again.
Oh, yeah, I
maybe
can do that.
maybe it'll show up that way. I went in there. I was like, "Whoa, okay, this ain't mine." And then I started looking at it. Yeah, this is mine, but this is mine from 10 years ago.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Friday and college football Saturday is tomorrow. We got tuned up with an exceptional couple of games last night on the big stage. We get a slate of them tomorrow. We got a Sunday nighter lined up for you down in New Orleans, Louisiana. And then Clemson plays on Monday. 3 straight days of big-time college football, baby. And considering it is college football Saturday, and considering it is now time to start throwing some change, some coin at games, for entertainment purposes only, of course. And considering you guys have spent a week sending us in punishments for the Boo Box Bet segment, Lonzo, it is time to go on the record. The rules, very simple. Every week, we will have 10 games to select. Obviously, this week, it is all college football. Starting next week, NFL Week 1, we will pick 5 NFL games and 5 college football games every week. On Mondays, or in this case, on Tuesday, since we are off on Monday, when we return, one of us will have correctly selected more games than the other, unless there's a tie at 5-5, or, well, I mean, any tie. If there is a tie, there will be no punishment that week. Okay? If there is a tie, there is no punishment this week. If one of us correctly picks more than the other, the loser will have to reach into his own personal boo box and select a punishment at random. That person will then have until the end of the broadcast week to perform the punishment, unless the punishment is weekend work, right? Like it's you got to go out to watch a game in public and do this. It's a really simple game.
There isn't anything in there like that, right? Okay.
Shoulder shrug. Shoulder shrug. So, I'm going to give you guys, I will, because I'm in a good mood, I will give you the remainder of this hour to get any additional punishments in that you want to get in, okay? Any additional punishments you want in the boo box, you can go ahead and send them to 71307 on the text line. Start your text with FAN-FAM. We'll get them in the boo box. Punishments for me, punishments for Lonzo. Each of us will have our own individual punishment box that we will select from. There will be some punishments that are in both boo boxes, like wear a dress on the stream. There will be individual punishments, like wear your hair in a bun for a man bun for an entire show for Lonzo. Drink a beer through a hot dog straw for Rob.
All right, so the man bun thing will be one of those that might take me a day or two because I have to find someone in the building who knows how to put in a man bun.
That is why you have the entire broadcast week to complete the punishment. It must be documented. Most of them are you can do them live on the stream, right? Like I can't drink a beer on the stream, but I can go do it at a bar or at the house and film it and put it on the social media, right? Most of the punishments are punishments that will be done on the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, on YouTube by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show, where you can watch the show live all 3 hours every day. The ones that are not to be done on the stream, you will have a week to complete and post the documentation of that on social media.
Should we have, and I know this is late in the game sort of, should we have an ultimate penalty if you fail to pay up on something that you pull from the box?
We can do that, or it's a double up the next week. Whether you win or lose, you have to do 2 punishments the next week. I suspect, because both you and I have, integrity.
There are mitigating circumstances sometimes, like it rained all week, so I couldn't go do that because it requires being out in weather that's not rainy, or something like that.
I will tell you there is one punishment in my boo box that requires me to work with/for somebody, which would obviously be up to their schedule to clear some room for me, stuff like that. In that case, obviously it will be okay, you just got to do it when you can do it.
Rob also has an unfair advantage because he's talking about things that I haven't heard of before, so I don't know all the possibilities in the boo box, and he does, which means that I'm not saying you wouldn't do it because I think we're both able to add stuff to each other's box.
Yeah.
That you may have added some stuff into mine that I don't know about.
No, the only, this one that I'm talking about is.
I was just using that as an instance.
So here's a couple that have just come in. Rob, punishment idea. Loser must do the show covered in sticky notes. I don't hate it, but that's really not that bad to me.
Texter, do you hate trees?
Rob, Lorenzo has to eat a cup of Duke's mayo before the end of a show. I'm good with that, but it can't be it's got to be like a cup.
No. A measuring cup is not as big as the thing that you just did. The first thing was a measuring cup.
A solid handful.
That is not a measuring cup.
Fine. I would say one of the small jars of Dukes has to be finished before the end of a show.
I got to point out, I don't think there's anybody who just sits down and eats mayonnaise.
That's why it's a punishment.
Yeah.
That's the point of a punishment.
I think I'd be okay for the cup. Oh, I wouldn't be okay, but I'd be willing to do the cup, but like a measuring cup, but I ain't eating no small jar of mayonnaise because I will throw up.
Texture says, Packy 1-chip challenge. I'll put that in the box. That's absolutely a good one. Lonzo's head start went warning, heartburn activated.
No, it was more stomach than it was anything else. So who needs sleep anyway in this job?
Texture says loser buys 2 tickets for a listener who calls in. Listener's choice of game, regular season games only.
No. That's money, dude.
Listen, I am aware that some of these punishments are going to cost me a few bucks.
Hey, radio salary is not really a joke. It's not.
I don't have $150 to send you to a Clemson.
If he did, he would have bought those shoes.
Or my own tickets to the game.
Well, there's that.
So, Texture says loser has to go to Top Golf with an air horn. You think I want to tick off people holding golf clubs? These crazy people.
There's something else. We can't be doing something that might cost us our job.
Right.
And Top Golf, I believe, may be a sponsor somewhere in the building, and that would be bad for us.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure that there are some punishments you guys could come up with involving Top Golf, in which case I'm totally in.
You just want to go to Top Golf.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. All right. let's get to our picks, shall we? We got 10 games on the roster to run through in this one. We will start. We will alternate games here. Lonzo, stripes or solids? Call it. Stripes or solids?
Solids. I don't even know how that works with a football.
I'm spinning the ball. Whatever lands up on top, that you get to defer or go
Oh,
first.
you're talking about the strings.
You pick solids?
I did.
Solids it is. You may go first or second. You have the lineup of games. We will go in that order. Your pick.
By the way, I found a way to get to them after I
good.
asked
So
you
you
to do
have
that.
them. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so you have the order of games.
I'm going second.
All right, you're going second. So we are going to start with Illinois versus Indiana. Illinois, the Illini, a 1.5 point favorite. Of course, the Illini are already 1-0 in Big Ten play, coming off of a 32-point win in their season opener against Wyoming. A better win than a lot of people thought this was going to be. This spread actually opened at Indiana -3.5. It has since moved all the way to Illinois being favorited by 1.5 points. Illinois -1.5, which means Illinois' got to win by 2 or better for it to cover. And Rob Brown is going to open with the Illini, baby. I am taking Illinois. I think that this squad showed last week they can put points on the board. I got questions about the defense, but I know they can score the rock. I am going to trust them to do just that. Tommy DeVito, the Syracuse transfer, impressed. 28 of 37, a $194 and a pair of touchdowns. I like Illinois.
Who were they playing when they did all that?
They were playing a Big Ten team. No, they're not a Big Ten. They were playing Wyoming in that one. They get a Big Ten team this week.
Okay, all right. So Wyoming has a football team.
Wyoming does have a football team. Pretty good little
And
Cowboys team,
you
too.
were impressed. The fact that you said little team, I think
little
pretty
team.
much says it all. So if my understanding from Rob Brown's description of how to do this, so whatever the final points for Illinois, you minus 1.5. I just want to make sure that
And if they still
that I
win
grasp
after
it.
you take the 1.5 away, then it covers. And if they do not win after you take a 1.5 away, then obviously Indiana covers.
All right, so since I'm just seeing these, I couldn't do any research on it. And you pointed out that Indiana was at first pick to win. Indiana is sporadic. They have been their entire existence. But even though Boo Box on the line, I'm going Indiana to win.
Indiana going with the Hoosiers.
So that means the spread doesn't matter.
Correct. Well, no, it does, because if Indiana loses by 1 point, you still win. If it's 21-20,
Okay, all right,
if
all
it's
right.
21-20 Illinois,
See,
you still win.
That's something that I didn't entirely understand. Now I got that too. So that's all right.
The final score is irrelevant. It's the math that's relevant. So since
Okay,
it's 1.5,
all right.
if it's 21-20 Illinois, you win even picking Indiana because they're within that 1.5.
Okay, all right, I got you.
All right, game number 2, Diesel's boys. Appalachian State is going to be hosting the Tar Heels of North Carolina. The Heels are just a 1.5 point favorite in this one, Lonzo.
What a shock that is, especially after, last year I remember someone predicting North Carolina to be really, really good, and it didn't come to happen.
And now they're not predicted to be that.
Now they're not. So I'm going to go with the opposite thing with Rob. Pick what he doesn't pick kind of thing. No, North Carolina's going to beat App State. If App State were to beat North Carolina, it's still not nearly as big of an upset as it was when they beat Michigan.
Yeah, Carolina has already played a game, so they've gotten their momentum down a little bit. Against Florida A&M, they built up a little bit of momentum. The Tar Heels easily able to spread the ball around on FAMU. Appalachian State's offense has a new offensive coordinator, which means I think it'll take them a little bit of time, a little bit of rhythm to get in. So I think we're both going Carolina to cover 1.5 on this one. Somewhere Diesel is in shambles. Game number 3.
No, he's just saying we're wrong, and not for the first time he's saying that.
NC State, 11.5 point favorites against ECU. That means, of course, NC State, you'll take 11.5 away from the final score. It also means effectively they've got to win by 12 points or better over the Pirates. Remember, the Pirates gave South Carolina fits last year. They could do the same against the Wolfpack. I hate this pick. Because I could see ECU giving NC State fits offensively and losing by 10. I'm going to go the Wolfpack to cover here.
Is Skip Holtz still at ECU?
Yeah, are you hating on Skip Holtz?
No. I'm going to also go with North Carolina State in this game.
Mike Houston is the head coach there now, by the way. But you're going who? NC State as well?
Yes.
All right, so we've only got one game of difference to lean on so far. Let's go now. Lonzo's up first as we get to Oregon taking on the Dogs. Georgia.
17, but that's
17's a big
lot.
number.
And I've heard.
Now, for the record, remember, this is a level 17. No half, no hook on this.
Right.
So if the game ends with a 17 point, if it ends 20 let's say 27-10, that's a push. It doesn't count as a loss for either one of us. If we both say several teams. If it ends on 17, that's a push. No L recorded here, but if it goes over under, obviously there will be a winner here. Oregon has to be within 17 for this to hit.
All right. After what Oregon did last year to Ohio State, that factors into me. It shouldn't because emotion should not factor into this. Also heard tell from several people that so you just think you know what I'm picking, huh? I wasn't done.
You can see the updates.
I wasn't done. Yeah.
I'll
So
take
you
it
just
back
think
off.
you just think you know. You just think you know.
Just said you were factoring what
And
Oregon did to Ohio State last year.
Well, that doesn't. I wasn't done speaking.
gotcha, okay.
And also, I've heard tell from several people that Georgia is missing a whole lot of people.
A lot of transfers.
A lot of transfers. Who do I trust? This first week's going to be the hardest because we really haven't seen anybody play.
Yep.
So we're just going off the preseason hype. I'm going with Oregon, though, just so I can make you type it again.
The Ducks! I'm taking the Dogs. This team's going to be good. Yeah, they lost some talent. I think people are freaking out, but I don't think you guys understand just how good Georgia was last year, right? Like, they beat Alabama. I mean, they also lost to Alabama, but they beat Alabama in that title game, and Alabama was exceptional last year, right? If it wasn't for Georgia, Alabama's team last year would have gone down as a phenomenal team, even with the loss to A&M earlier in the year. I'm taking the Dogs to cover 17. It's going to be a 21-point, touchdown win for Georgia. They will just overpower the Ducks. Here is a very, very interesting one. Cincinnati is on the road in Fayetteville, where they take on, we go from the Dogs to the Hogs. Arkansas is a 6.5-point favorite in this one. The Bearcats in the college football playoff last year, but Arkansas was pretty good last year. And I think that this team is for real. The question is, can they win by a touchdown or better? This is going to be, I think, one of the better games to open up. This is one I would absolutely tell you to keep an eye on. The Bearcats want to make a run back to the college football playoff. This is a game that they will have to win if they want a chance to do it. You cannot lose this game even to a superior team. That being said, Arkansas is winning by a touchdown. Give me Arkansas minus 6.5 at home against the Bearcats.
Yeah, generally when I see an Ohio team's playing and they're not playing the Ohio State University, I'm probably going to pick that Ohio team, but not this time because Arkansas looked pretty good last year. Yeah, Cincinnati made it to the playoff. They should not have been there. They proved that. Yeah, I'm going Arkansas.
The Hogs going both ways. Rob and Lonzo in agreement on that one. Here might be the most debated week one game.
All right, I'm just going to jump in here really quick and go ahead and say Utah because I'm never going to pick Florida.
Well, it was your turn to go first anyway.
Yeah, who roots for Florida? I mean, what kind of person does that?
Yeah,
no.
I got to tell you, I don't know, man. I mean, like the popular money is coming in on Utah. I think that line, I think they have actually given back a full point based on the Vegas money. The question mark is, and I know it's been discussed into the ground and back, the question mark is the weather, right? If it's 92 degrees at kick, Will the Mountain Boys be comfortable with the heat and the humidity? That being said, new head coach for Florida, got to work in real game time. I got to go Utah here as well. Even at home, I got to tell you, I could see Utah winning this game by 3 and we both eat the L. I could see this being a last-second field goal win for Utah. I could also see it being a last-second field goal win for the Gators. I'm just going to lean Utah because of the jitters of having a first head coach. Let's go, Lonzo. It's time. Notre Dame versus Ohio State. That is interesting. What is more interesting is the fact that the Irish are 17-point underdogs in this one under brand new and younger than I am head coach Marcus Freeman, who is, by the way, a former Buckeye. I got no doubt that Lonzo is picking Ohio State to win this game outright, but Zoe, can they win it by 17 points or better?
This has to be the way the season started off the year before. You got to look at that and go, we can't let that happen to us again if you're Ohio State. And so not only are they going to win, but they're going to win big. And this will be a statement game for the entire season because they know what happened last year. And Notre Dame is such a big name, a ranked team. Yeah, Ohio State's going to beat the spread on this.
I have gone back and forth on this one like a lot of times. And it's just a spread. Ohio State's going to win this game. I have no doubt about that.
By the way, Joseph in the stream says in Notre Dame's last 22 games versus the top 5, Notre Dame has a record of 2-20.
Yeah, Notre Dame's going to lose this game. I don't have any doubt.
It's about
that.
spread.
It's about the 17 points, right? 17 points. Here's the thing. I'm going to go with the Irish to lose. Maybe by 14. I don't know if you go 2.5 touchdowns here. Notre Dame's going to move the ball. They've got a lot of talent offensively, and they have got a phenomenal young, agile receiver core. Plus, their tight end is named Michael Meyer. He's a killer. I'm going to take the Irish. Georgia State is coming to South Carolina. This one is interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because do you remember there is a cat that is currently at the helm of the Georgia State football team by the name of Sean Elliott. He's got some connections with South Carolina. Beamer, on the other hand, has got to prove this year that all the hype, it's not just climate change, is it there, Stoopsy? It's actually culture change. This one goes a long way to proving that South Carolina is not a mirage. They are not a climate change. They are in the midst of a culture change. At home, the Gamecocks can win this one by 2 touchdowns or better. 12.5 points the Gamecocks are favored by. Taking USC to cover.
Are we going to know what Spencer Rattler we're getting tomorrow? Is this going to be telling for the season? I think he's going to go out and play really hard and score enough touchdowns. And because I'm wearing Sir Big Spur on my chest right now, yeah, I got to go South Carolina.
All right, we're both taking the Gamecocks at the house to cover it all up. Sunday night, Sunday fun day, baby. Florida State University travels to the Big Easy. They will be hosted by Louisiana State University.
This is the hardest game on here for me.
LSU is -3. Keep in mind, with the even line, a 3-point game's a push. Nobody takes an L. FSU v. LSU in Louisiana, Lonzo. You're up first. Who you got?
Wow.
I know.
I don't know. I really don't know. Because I'm thinking of LSU last year.
Yep.
I'm
Struggle
also
bus.
thinking same with Florida
Got a new head
State.
coach at LSU and Brian Kelly. Had a lot of transfer out.
All
Has
right.
not named a starting quarterback, which tells me he doesn't have one.
All right, here's the deal.
Miles Brennan's gone.
Make fun of the family all you want,
Flammable.
but if it comes down to coaching, I got to go with Brian Kelly. So I'm going to go with LSU.
I actually am too. I actually am too. I think this has got the potential to be a really good football game. Florida State ran the ball exceptionally well against Duquesne. LSU, even when they're bad, is not Duquesne. They put 40 up on Duquesne. They did not cover the spread against Duquesne. I got no reason to believe that LSU won't be able to just run possession. I'm not saying FSU doesn't have a chance in this game. I'm saying this is a really rough way for Mike Norvell to start trying to climb his way out of the cellar. We both got LSU to cover up 3. If you move this line, Lonzo, to 6.5, if you certainly moved it to 7.5, I might take FSU. 3's not enough. We wrap it up on Monday when the Tigers of Clemson will be in the ATL playing Georgia Tech. It's not the game that's interesting, Lonzo. It's the 23.5 points that Clemson is favored by over the Ramblin' Wreck. I am going first in this one, and I'm going with the Tiger men to cover it up. Here's the thing. Mark Ryan said yesterday he thinks Clemson's defense could be, quote, historical, end quote. Historical, end quote. I think they will be better than last year. They were racked with injuries last year. Old Jeff might have the most tailored suits in the ACC, but he's way up on the hot seat. And he's on the hot seat for a reason. Georgia Tech just does not have the athleticism. It comes down to, can DJ do it? Here's the thing. I don't need DJ to do it tomorrow. I need Shipley to do it. I need Mufa to do it. I need the 3-headed monster of Clemson to run the ball, keep the hand out of it. Problem is, if they're running the ball, I don't know that they're going to be slinging it to score points like I'd like them to. That being said, I just need a 24-point victory on the road at Georgia Tech. Florida State is going to be playing in front of the most hostile crowd they have played in front of in a very long time in the Superdome. Clemson is not going to be facing a monster away team disadvantage against Georgia Tech. Give me the Tigers.
You know, historically, I have been not a fan of Clemson. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, no, it's shocking. But also historically, if you look, I almost always pick Clemson to win. And all those people hate me because I dislike Clemson. They always seem to forget the fact that I almost always pick Clemson. Why? Because they're pretty good. 23.5.
It's a lot of points.
So I'm going to put some emotion into this, and here's the emotion you're probably not expecting. I want DJ to be good, so all those Clemson fans get Kate in there. Those people won't know what to say because they want Clemson to win, but they want DJ to do bad because they don't want him to be the quarterback anymore. And yeah, Clemson's going to take care of Georgia Tech.
Clemson. For both, I really thought 23 and a hook would bring you to GT.
Nah.
I thought 23 and a hook might get you.
I am always a fan of someone who's downtrodden and oppressed for the wrong reasons. I'm gonna root for the underdog, and DJ is the underdog here.
Georgia Tech is the underdog by 23 and a half points.
It's not about that.
What are you talking
It's not about who they're playing. It's not about who they're playing. This is about DJ. That's all this is about.
Underdog. Give me the 24-point favorite.
DJ is the underdog. He is, without a doubt.
Fantastic. All right. There is our Boo Box Bets picks. I've got Illinois better than 1.5 over Indiana. He's taking the Hoosiers. We both got Carolina to cover up 1.5 against Appy State. Both of us taking NC State to beat ECU by 12 or better. Oregon, 17-point dogs, and Zoe's riding with the Ducks. I got the dogs. Cincinnati versus Arkansas. We're both taking the Razorbacks to cover up 6.5. Utah needs to beat Florida by 4 or better. Both of us think that they will. Notre Dame is going to be within 17, says Rob Brown. They will not, says Lonzo. We both got the Gamecocks to cover up 12.5 at home over Georgia State. Both of us taking the Tigers of LSU to be a field goal or better against FSU, and both of us taking the Tigers of Clemson to win by 24 or better over Georgia Tech. There are our picks. You got to the end of this hour to get your Boo Box Bets punishments in. Let's take a break. We'll come back. One very rapido segment, and then it's Twitter, and then we all go home, and I call a Burns football game tonight, and then we got college football tomorrow, and then we got college football Sunday, and then we got college football Monday, and then we'll come back on Tuesday to find out who's doing what as a punishment. Rob Lonzo, you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Brisbane. And we're back. Hello.
Hello, stream.
Not yet. My intention, Stephen, is to watch it today, possibly.
I have heard some not great stuff. I have heard that, was it like $270 million to produce that show? And from what I've heard, and I'm absolutely gonna watch it before Alonzo starts going off on me. I'm gonna watch it. But from what I've heard,
He already doesn't like it, and he hasn't watched it.
no, I'm apprehensive because I want it to be great. Right? It's the WWE conundrum. I want it to be great. I have heard it feels like they spent the $270 million on the FX, on the graphics, on the scenery, and that the story sucks. But we'll see. I'm watching it.
We'll see if it's as disjointed as Silmarillion is, which is just basically short stories put in to try to fill in the timeline.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's what it's like. You go back and watch Lord of the Rings, the effects don't hold up like they did at the time when you watched it.
Which one?
The Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Watch, especially the Hobbits.
I still think it's a beautiful.
Especially the No, it's beautiful, but the effects don't hold up.
I mean, very few do, right? Like, that's how fast technology paces. All right. Real quick segment here. Us? Off the clock? No. Couldn't be. Lonzo!
Rob! Baker!
Baker! Playoff 4 predictions. We got to go on the record here. We got to do it. It's the last day. You can't do it after week 1. That's cheating. So.
Okay, I'll go first. Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma. There we go. I'm done. There we go. I'm done. I'm done. I will get at least half of them right.
You probably will. You probably will. I like Oklahoma in there. I like it. They got talent. You lost Caleb Williams. That would have.
Yeah,
if Caleb's
but
there, I'd give it to you.
But that fourth team, you can just insert a couple different. The fourth team is going to lose.
But Clemson is the fourth team to me.
They could
they
be.
are the fourth
They
team.
absolutely could be. I believe more in DJ than other people do. I think if Cade comes in, they probably don't make the playoffs. But if DJ stays in there, they do.
I mean, if Cade comes in, it's because
Man,
they
I
took a L.
hope I tick some people off.
Yeah,
for
if Cade
saying
comes
that.
in, they took an L. If Cade plays, they are not making the playoffs. I am going to go Alabama. I'm going to go Ohio State. I'm gonna do it. I hate to say it because it's supposed to be unpredictable. I am going to take the Vegas top 4 in this one. I hate it. I don't want to, but I'm going to take the Vegas top 4. I think it's boring to go chalk. I think it doesn't challenge you to go chalk.
But if money was riding on it, of course you're going to pick.
chalk.
You're going to at least pick the top 3
Yeah,
for sure.
We both did. We both did. The only thing you did outside of the top 4 was to substitute Oklahoma for Georgia, which I think is a risk, but I don't think it's a bad one, right? Like, who in the Big 12 is going to beat Oklahoma? If they have a much. In fact, you know what? There's a part of me that wants to take Clemson out and put OU in. But see, here's the thing. The benefit for Oklahoma in playing in a down Big 12, Clemson's playing in the ACC, right? There's one team that can stop Clemson from making the playoff, in my opinion. Honestly, they should not lose a game this year. There's one team that can stop Clemson from getting to the playoff. You know who it is? Miami. Miami's the only team in the ACC. I think there's going to be some scares, right? I think there's going to be some scares. I think that there is the potential for Clemson to get scared in Tallahassee by Florida State. But if there is remember, if they make it to and win the ACC championship, Lonzo, there is a better than average chance that they've got to play Miami twice in 3 weeks. It's hard to beat a team twice in college football. It's hard to beat a team twice in any sport, but it's hard to beat a team twice in college football. I am putting Clemson in as my 4th team. I'm going Bama and Georgia both make it back. All right? They will play each other in the SEC championship game. It will be a game. They will both be 12-0 at that point because Alabama's not going to drop one like they did against A&M, and I don't see anybody in the East knocking off Georgia, right? And as long as that SEC championship game ain't a blow-off, one of those teams would be the first one-loss team to get in. It may not be the order. Ohio State, honestly, with all due respect, Zoe, Ohio State is the team I have the most nerves about. They are, because there's 2 or 3 games on Michigan's on that schedule. I could see them getting frightened by Penn State. Because remember, while Penn State did struggle last night to get by Purdue, Zoe, you know this better than anybody listening right now. Penn State gets the hell up for the Ohio State game every year. And James Franklin.
Well, is it in Penn State? That's the question.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does because the whiteout is a real thing. The whiteout, it shouldn't be. It's just white jerseys, but the whiteout is a real thing.
Penn State's whiteout is the only color out that I like. I hate color outs. It is in Happy Valley. It is at Penn State. The whiteout game is probably OSU. James Franklin got paid mucho dinero to be the head coach for the Nittany Lions. Those are the games that he got paid because of, right? He got paid for games like Ohio State. Michigan State could be a real interesting game for the Buckeyes. That one is at Michigan State. You've got Wisconsin coming to the house. Ground and pound, 4 yards in a cloud of dust. That one could be interesting. There are probably 4 games on the docket. 4 games on the docket for Ohio State that could be. I'm not predicting them to be, but could be.
So what you just said, what Rob Brown just said is the Big Ten is the best football has to offer this year.
No, the SEC
it's not the SEC.
still is.
No, because you just said Ohio State has a tougher road because of all those teams and how good they are. You didn't say that about Alabama.
No, I'm saying Ohio State is closer to the rest of the conference than Alabama and Georgia are in the SEC.
You can reword it now. We all heard it.
Wisconsin could be Notre Dame tomorrow could be interesting. I don't think it will be. That's why they're 17-point favorites, but it could be. Wisconsin could be interesting. They'll be a 17-point favorite in that one. They should be favored by about the same against Michigan State. Iowa would be interesting, but that one's in Columbus, so that should be fine. Penn State's at Penn State, or else I wouldn't be worried about it. But whiteout conditions could be good. And then, obviously, wrapping up the year with Michigan, Ohio State.
I am going to take that risk that I do sometimes and actually have the game on while I'm doing a show tomorrow. So you're going to be able to tell what kind of mood I'm in depending on, what's going on.
I like it. All right, so playoff 4. Lonzo's going Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma. Rob's going chalk with Bama, OSU, Georgia, and Clemson to sneak in the back door as the number 4. What are your playoff picks? Tweet them to me at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at The Fan Upstate. Let's take a break. We come back. We wrap up the week. The next time we talk to you guys will be next Tuesday, and we'll have week 1 of college football season in the books.
You know what Tuesday is? It's booze day. And not that kind of booze.
I was like, what?
As a boo box.
Yeah, I got it now.
Booze day.
For just a second, I'm like, are we on remote? I'm excited. The Boo Box makes its debut on Tuesday. What'll the punishment be? The one-chip challenge? A Carolina Reaper salsa? Carolina Reaper salsa? A man bun, perhaps? We'll find out on Tuesday on The Rob Brown Show. We got 1 segment left. We hit it hard. This is The Fan Upstate.
So HBO has released the first episode of House of Dragon for free on YouTube.
Really?
To coincide with the launch of The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power on Prime. So does that mean they fear Lord of the Rings? So we'd rather you watch our thing, so we're giving it to you for free.
I mean,
why else would you do that?
Because it's not afraid of so much as a lot of people, not me, because I'm dumb and I pay for both. A lot of people are going to make a decision about what they want to watch first. right? Like, do you want to watch?
Well, House of the Dragon's already been out. There's like 2 episodes out
2
already.
episodes out. Episode 3 drops Sunday. Very excited about that. It comes down to, I think, if you are somebody who's going to make a decision about which one streaming service that you want, if you watch House of the Dragon episode 1 and you put that time in, especially considering there is a lot of cynical discussion about Rings of Power, I suspect the goal is if you watch an episode of House of the Dragon, then if you haven't made your decision yet, you're more likely to go, you know what, I'll just go ahead and get the HBO Max and finish this show up and come back to Rings of Power later. That's my guess as to what their thought process is.
You know what, Trey? Here's what you do. You let the people who are tipsy that you're driving back, let them text the show. I mean, you're the designated driver. You need to be driving. But, you're driving your coworkers. You can just let them, hey, text into this show.
I will
I'd be interested to see what they actually say.
transcribe this for me, sir.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, I'm wondering if there will be a comparison between the 2 shows because one is on HBO and has nudity and all the other
Graphic
stuff,
violence.
and the other one may not. I don't know.
I don't know if they will or
I
not. I assume they won't.
I'm guessing they won't if they follow the trend.
Yeah.
So will it be a choice of, okay, somewhat clean and wholesome, not clean?
Not even close.
Yeah.
By the way, for those of you on the stream that have asked about it, Captain America Chris Evans down the hall gave me confirmation this morning. It looks like September 10th after the Upstate Pulse will be session 1 for the Tales of whatever these guys decide to name their group. If they decide to name the group.
Why do we got to name the group?
You don't have to. It's just tradition.
It's 4 dudes and a not girl. Because none of us believe that that's a girl.
I love D&D. I love D&D. So anyway, we're going to live stream that. We are going to live stream that next Saturday, the 10th. You will be able to view it on the Upstate Pulse Facebook page and my YouTube channel. I'm quite excited about it.
You can do 2 YouTube. So my thing is, I'm stuck with. So you get 1 and I get 2. What 2 do I use? Do I use Facebook and YouTube, or do I use Twitch?
No. Well, that's a good call.
Twitch is just a thing that I'm experimenting with to see if I can get anything. I'm more interested in YouTube, and we already have a decent following on Facebook, so I'll probably go Facebook.
I would go Facebook. I think YouTube's more versatile. Like Twitch is great, but it's pretty niche. Whereas YouTube, you can give that link to anybody.
Right. I'm not going to put it on Words Facebook though. So
why? I think it'd be amazing. Let them see what the nerd life's all about.
It's not for that reason. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
And by the way,
I may change my mind.
we can run multiple streams. You can put it whatever you want. Like I can run StreamYard, you can run StreamYard.
I don't think we can do that.
Session.
I don't think we can do that.
Why?
Maybe we could.
Yeah, 100% we could.
Maybe we could.
100% we could.
Well, I didn't really think about that.
Here's what we do.
Yeah, but it would have to
said
be
it-
two separate sessions. I mean, we
Yeah,
couldn't be on
yeah.
this.
No, that's what I'm
okay.
saying. We run 2 separate
so
sessions. of
one
StreamYard.
guy runs one
I
thing.
send him to
one
3. You send it to 3. We're sending it to wherever the hell we want it to go to.
Wow. Yeah, that's I'd always wondered about trying
And
to
then
do
you
that.
can put it on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook.
And then you can put it on
YouTube,
Okay.
wherever. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go with that then.
Trey said you may get 8 to 9 new fans. I'm gonna start calling the stream chat the PAs, the passive aggressives.
No, you didn't get it. He's you didn't see earlier. He's designated driving to a game. And
He's saying
taking a
within
bunch-
that van.
Yeah,
he may
yeah.
get. I
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
I thought he
yeah.
meant if we stream it, we'll get 8 to 9 new
Yeah, yeah.
fans.
I got it. So, You know what? It may be too early for. I'm going to do it anyway. It's too late now. I don't want to take it out.
Is this the last promo? That'll work.
All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending and he tells us why. And I did it early today since you robbed me yesterday and stole all of my Twitters yesterday.
I was trying to make sure I'm not going crazy. I'm not.
Oops.
That's the catchphrase of my life.
Well, you could have played that off. Not everyone could hear
I didn't
that.
know that I was hearing it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
am I
It's
here?
like,
Okay.
okay, fine. First thing that's trending is Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion has been announced. She will have a character
So
in
you haven't
She-Hulk.
watched. You haven't watched.
I haven't watched episode 2 yet.
Okay.
Is this the episode she debuts
This
in?
is why she's trending, yes.
Okay. Don't tell me anything about it because or episode 3.
Of She-Hulk, by the
Of
way.
She-Hulk, right.
Yes.
I got the girlfriend into it. She does, like, she's watched all the Marvel stuff, but we kind of hit the point where she's like, I think I'm Marveled out, right? Like, I think I've hit my capacity. Like, I got the resolution of the story with Tony and Cap and all these guys. I don't know if I want to start a whole new arc with all new characters. So the other night we're laying in bed and she's like, hey, here's the remote. You can watch whatever you want. I'm gonna do some work. So I just put on She-Hulk. I had already seen it. I just wanted to see if it would hook her. We got to the end of episode 2 and she's like, all right, I'm in. I will get to episode 3. I will say I am very excited about what they're doing with Abomination and how they're setting that up. I think that's got some pretty interesting. What does she call it? It's a good little lawyer show. And I'm in.
It is.
I like it.
If you don't like politics, though, this one might turn you completely off if you're on one side or the other. But I just laugh it off and just move on with the thing. So
Giant green angry monster. Roll with it.
yes. All right. The next thing that's trending is Activision.
Activision, of course, responsible for many, many great games in history. I own a bunch of them and have no idea why they're trending.
All right, so they're being purchased by Microsoft. It's been
Microsoft's just buying every
yeah.
game
Well,
studio.
they've been trying to do this for I think like 6 months,
Yeah.
and the sale is about to go through. There are some other companies going, no, it's a monopoly, which
Yeah.
may be so, but I'm okay with this monopoly because it was pointed out today, according to IGN and a couple other sites, that Call of Duty and Diablo 4 both will be on Game Pass.
Yeah. It's interesting because on one hand, it does make it more convenient for gamers. The bad part on the other hand is that I think it's fair to say, as an Xbox guy, it's fair to say that the selection of Xbox games as compared to PlayStation over the last couple of years has been a little bit disappointing, especially considering the best games on Xbox are crossover games, are games you can get on both platforms. So, I will acknowledge, Lonzo, that I'm a little bit apprehensive about Microsoft buying up all the studios because you're basically creating a Sony versus Microsoft development race as well. And maybe competition leads to greatness.
It's already been that way for a while. It absolutely has. With the console wars for a reason.
Yeah, but I think that's forced them to fund development companies, right? Because like if you want Blizzard to make games exclusively for you, then you need to pay into that. You need to help prop them and push them. And I don't think that's been the case recently.
All right. We got time for one more, but this one's a good one. Bray Wyatt is trending.
There are some folks who believe that there is a possibility.
Oh, there's more than that.
Well, I'll shut up.
There have been sightings of Bray Wyatt in Cardiff.
Really?
Why would Bray Wyatt be in Cardiff? I mean, some people could be lying, but
here's the
multiple
thing.
sightings of Bray Wyatt in Cardiff. Maybe he's sightseeing. It just happens to be that there's a big event going on there.
If that is true, if he has been seen there, keep in mind that every time that one of these events takes place for either company, a ton of former wrestlers also go to that place because you can do appearances and sign autographs and take pictures and make a bunch of money off of it. So it is not uncommon for former wrestlers to show up where pay-per-views are happening, especially when they are a exotic locale like Cardiff, because Bray's going to get to expose himself to fans that he traditionally would not. But
he's in Cardiff, Rob.
But Bray showing up, does he show up as the Fiend or as a new character? Please bring back the Fiend and just let him do what Bray wants to do with it, because it was so good.
What if he attacks Karrion Kross and stops him from doing anything?
Or Roman himself. He's still got a grudge with Roman.
He does. He's got a grudge with a lot of people. All right, one more thing, real quick. Views from Mint Street.
Views from Mint Street, the Carolina podcast exclusively for Panthers fan, is available where major podcasts are found. Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Play. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Views from Mint Street podcast. We will be dropping another episode over the weekend. We will let you know when we figure it out. Stay tuned to social media. Y'all have a great weekend. Do not drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Jim Rome is up next to take you into the jungle. Mark Ryan and Offsides got you at 3. We are back on Tuesday to break down all the games for the weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here Tuesday on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Stream, you guys are amazing. I appreciate y'all participating in the show. Tell your friends about it, and we'll see you back here too. Actually, you'll probably see us pop up over the weekend on social media because football, but definitely.